everybody, Mike and Hannah here with Delta Faucet. If you're planning a bathroom renovation or even doing new construction, a new shower and wall set can make all the difference, and it's a project that we can help you tackle. Now, keep in mind that building codes are different everywhere, so if there's a task that seems a little bit beyond your abilities, we definitely recommend contacting a professional for some additional help. You can also make sure that you're totally comfortable with all of these steps by reviewing this video before fully tackling it.
It's good to know too that this is a two-person job. There are certainly steps along the way that require an extra set of hands. Before we get started, we want to make sure you're watching the right video. Let's confirm a few things. First, take a look at your installation guide or packaging to confirm what series you've selected. This video will cover a shower base in Delta's Classic 500 series. Today we're installing a 60 by 32 shower base, but this video will also work for Delta's Classic 500 60 by 30 shower base with left, center, and right drain options. The size will affect your installation, so double check the packaging or installation guide. Finally, if you are pairing a matching wall set with your shower, make sure those components are also part of the Classic 500 series. If all of those things check out, you're watching the right video.
Now, before starting any plumbing related project, it's always a good idea to shut off the water supply. Be sure to do that before starting this install. Next, let's collect the tools and supplies we may need to complete this installation. These include a drill, safety glasses, a caulk gun, adhesive, sealant, a tape measure, a level, a Carpenter square, some shims, a drop cloth, a pencil, a driver bit, mortar, a bit holder extension, a 3/16 inch drill bit, 1¼ inch stainless or zinc plated truss head screws, a 1/2 inch square notched trowel, a hole saw, and some gloves.
You're also going to need a shower drain assembly. It's not included with this model, so get a standard shower drain with a 4¼ inch strainer. And a pro tip here, you may want to make sure the drain coordinates with your trim finish. Okay, go ahead and grab those tools and supplies and let's get started. The first step is checking that our walls are plumb and square and that our subfloor is level. So to do that, grab a long level and place it against each of the studs in your opening, making sure that they're plumb and that the bubble is in between the lines. So you do that with each one of your studs, making sure that they're plumb. Then you're gonna come down to the subfloor and place your level down. You're gonna check that your subfloor is level at the back, the front, and both sides. If it's out of level, you'll need to apply a mortar bed in a later step.
Now, we also want to ensure that our walls are square to each other within our opening. So to do this, I'm going to use a Carpenter square. Starting down low in one of my back corners, I'm going to hold the square tight along the corners, checking both sides of my square to making sure I'm getting good consistent contact with my framing. I also think it's a good idea to go ahead and check just a foot or two up the wall as well. Again, making sure I'm getting good contact on both sides of the square with my framing. Now I'm going to check the other side as well, and I believe my opening is going to be pretty good. However, I do want to point out that if there's any fine-tuned adjustments that you need to make in your opening, now is the time to do that, because this is really the last opportunity you're going to have to do this, and it will also make the installation go that much smoother down the road. So make any of those necessary adjustments, and then we can move on to the next step. Next, we're dry fitting our shower base and our opening. So I've pushed the base tight against the back wall and also made sure I'm getting good even contact against each side wall. At this point, I want to review the framing requirements for my base, making sure I'm adding any blocking that might be necessary. So for example, in my installation, you can see I'm missing a little piece of blocking along this front edge because I want to make sure that I'm going to have a connection point to secure my base to the framing behind it. So I'm going to use a little piece of wood, securing it to my existing framing, which now gives me a perfect spot to make that connection. Now at this point, I also want to consider how I'll be finishing off the rest of my opening. For example, if you're adding a wall set like I will be, that comes with its own set of framing requirements, and I want to be sure I follow those as I'm adding any additional blocking for my shower base here. So once you have all that blocking added, we can go ahead and move on to the next step.
Now we're going to draw a reference line along the front of our shower base using a pencil, and this will be helpful in a future step. So we're just going to trace the front of our shower base. Then we're also going to trace the outline of our drain. And next, we're going to mark the location of our pilot holes. So I'm gonna make a reference mark in the center of our flange at each one of our stud locations in our opening. So go ahead and make those reference marks and then we'll move on. I've got my base pulled out of my opening and I have a drill with a 3/16 inch drill bit and an extended bit holder. That's to make sure that the chuck of my drill doesn't damage my base when I'm drilling my pilot holes. Okay, let's go ahead and drill those pilot holes.
Next, we're going to drill the hole in our subfloor for our drain. Now, it's important that this hole is large enough to accommodate whatever drain was selected for our shower base, but no larger than 5 inches in diameter. So once you're ready to go, we're going to take our hole saw, center it over that reference mark that we made earlier. And once everything looks good, go ahead and drill down through your subfloor. Moving right along, I've gone ahead and installed the shower drain into my shower base according to the drain manufacturer's instructions. Now, the important thing to remember here is I don't want to use plumber's putty to make the connection between the drain and the shower base because it could damage the shower base itself. Also, I've gone ahead and brought my rough plumbing up to speed, making sure my drain pipe is not only in the right location, but also at the right height for the drain that I've selected. The important measurement to remember here is I want to make sure that my drain pipe isn't above my subfloor by any more than 1 3/4 inches. Once you have both these things installed and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and dry fit our shower base into our opening one last time to verify that everything is coming together to form a nice watertight seal. So what we're going to do is take our shower base, carefully lower it down, ensuring that our drain and our drain plumbing are coming together the way we want them to. Now, a little bit of a pro tip here is if your drain has a removable grate, I recommend going ahead and taking that off now and setting it aside for safekeeping because it makes it that much easier as we're lowering this whole base into place to look down through the drain to ensure that the drain and the drain pipes are coming together. If everything looks ready to go, we can go ahead and take our base and carefully lower it down for one last dry fit. Okay, so I have my shower base dry fit my opening for the last time. Now, there's 2 things I want to check. First and foremost, I want to make sure that my shower drain and my rough plumbing are coming together perfectly to ensure a nice watertight connection. Second, I also think it's a good idea to go ahead and verify that my shower base is still sitting level in my opening. So to do this, I'm going to take my level, place it along the ledge, the back, the front, and at both sides of my shower base. Now what this is going to do is confirm that the plumbing connection I just made hasn't knocked my shower base out of level at all. So if everything's looking good, we can go ahead and pull our shower base back out of our opening and then move on to adhering it in place.
Now we're going to adhere our shower base to our subfloor. Now if your subfloor was out of level, now is when you'll need to apply the mortar bed. Ours is level, so I can go ahead with adhesive. You can use an adhesive that's safe for plastics or an advanced polymer sealant. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch square notch trowel to spread it out evenly, making sure that I don't go past this reference line that we made earlier. Okay, let's go ahead and apply the adhesive. We've taken the protective plastic off of our base, we've got our adhesive spread out, and now it's time to set our base for the final time.
Another thing we want to do is make sure that we've applied any required cement to all of our rough plumbing connections and also to our shower drain to ensure a permanent watertight seal as we install our shower base.
Last thing, you want to lower the base down, making sure not to slide it in. Okay, let's do it.
All right, we've got our shower base pushed into our rough opening and everything is sitting nice and level. So at this point, we can move on to securing our shower base to our rough framing. Now to do this, I'm going to be using screws that are 1 1/4 inch long and have truss or pan heads. And also you'll notice on my drill here, I'm using an extended drill bit holder. And that's because I want to make sure that the spinning chuck of my drill doesn't come in contact with my shower base along the edge here as I'm working my way around securing it in place, because that could cause a little bit of damage to the finish of the shower base. Also, when I'm securing these screws, I want to make sure I don't over tighten them. I just need them to be snug to hold the shower base in place. If I over tighten the screw, it could cause a little bit of damage to the flange itself. And then finally, if I see any excessive gaps between the rough framing and the flange, say of greater than 1/8 of an inch, it's a great idea to take a wood shim and just go ahead and drop it down between the framing and the flange to close that gap before securing it in place with a screw. So, with all of those things in mind, go ahead and grab your screws and your drill, work your way around the opening, securing it in place through each one of those pilot hole locations we previously drilled, and that'll about wrap up this installation. All right, we've got all those screws installed. We've scored and snapped off any shims we may have used. And we've also let the adhesive or the mortar bed cure according to the manufacturer's instructions. So that about wraps this up.
The last step of this installation will actually come after your finished floors are in. You'll need to apply a bead of sealant along the bottom of the shower base. If you're not moving on to installing the matching wall set, after your finished walls are in, you'll also need to apply a bead of sealant along the top of your shower base and where the finished walls meet your shower base. All right, we hope that this installation went well for you.
Now, if you are moving on to install that matching wall set, be sure to check out the video we have for that. It walks you through the installation step by step. And remember, you can always reach out to the Delta Faucet customer service team with any questions. They're more than happy to help.